Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday again, and we all know what Thursday is. Don't forget to give Critical Drinker a follow. Yes, but let's start crazy before we move on to the title. Come on. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm your host, your
guy in the chair.
He said it!
And today, we're watching and enjoying what's next. What now, Marvel? This everything's kind of flopping. So let's hear it and enjoy.
I'd said before that 2025 was going to go down as the make or break year, not just for Marvel and DC, but for superhero movies in general. The MCU desperately needed to get back on track after years of embarrassing flops and underperformers, while James Gunn had the challenge of rebooting and relaunching the entire DC universe on film. On the Marvel front, things didn't get off to a great start, that's for sure. Brave New World turned out to be a bloated, chopped up, embarrassing mess that flopped harder than a fat influencer on a high diving board. Thunderbolts got a slightly better reception from fans, although fuck knows why, but still failed to make any impact at the box office. That left Fantastic Four to redeem a pretty disastrous year for the franchise. And well... Fantastic Four is a fucking flop, just like all the other Marvel movies that have come out this year. Which was interesting because it was actually pretty well received by fans and critics. Damn man, even I enjoyed it and gave it a half-decent review. It had a reasonably good opening weekend and solid word of mouth, so why did it fall off harder than Rachel Zegler's career? Well, dear viewer, Dr. Drinker is here with a big old batch of truth pills. They're gonna be bitter and hard to swallow, but just like I tell Tatiana, you'd better swallow them and keep them down, or it's another 3 days in the hole for you. So, like, you're gonna edit that out later, right? Okay, cool. Anyway, I think the failure of Fantastic Four has been pretty useful in some ways because it's dispelled a few myths that people have been clinging onto for way too long now. Myth number one is that Marvel is ever going to come back. That all it'll take is the right movie at the right time to catapult the franchise back to the glory days of the 2010s.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Well, here's a reality check for you. That is never gonna happen. Yeah, they might still get the occasional hit, and they'll always have a core fan base they can rely on, but the days of billion-dollar movies being practically normal are long gone, and they're not coming back. 500 million is rapidly becoming the number that most people are talking about, which would be fine if movie budgets actually reflected that reality. But with $200 or even $300 million on production alone still being standard practice, well, the numbers just don't add up, and no amount of positive spin is going to change that. So why the hell did this happen? Well, partly because Marvel is a damaged brand by now. Their fan base has gradually been driven away by half a decade of mediocre movies and shitty TV shows, preachy and divisive identity politics, formulaic storytelling, dated humor, and sheer media oversaturation. They got too successful, too complacent, and too lazy, and they fell into the trap of thinking that they could just keep expanding forever.
Sheer hubris. Fucking hubris.
It really is hard to miss something that never fucking goes away, and it's even harder to get excited about it when it's basically the same experience every single time, only with different coloured spandex. Even a good Marvel movie at this point is like middle-aged sex in a stale marriage, less about the excitement and novelty of exploring new possibilities, and more about going through a series of familiar steps to reach the same predictable outcome. Myth number two is that Pedro Pascal is a serious box office draw. Like, can we all just accept at this point that this guy isn't really going to happen? And all the fun and media coverage and red carpet appearances in the world aren't going to change that. Like so many other people, I've been trying to figure out why Hollywood's been pushing this increasingly insufferable, borderline creepy 50-year-old weirdo so hard, like he's this hot young talent taking the industry by storm, and by George, I think I've got it. For whatever reason, Disney have made him a cornerstone of not one but two of their biggest franchises, Star Wars Universe and Marvel. They've pinned a lot of their hopes on this guy. They desperately need him to be a star, so they've marshaled the entire Hollywood media machine behind him to try to make him a star. The problem is, well, he isn't, and he never really has been. He's a character actor at best, solid and talented for sure, but hardly spectacular, and gassed up way beyond his league by insane overexposure. He doesn't have the charisma, the magnetism, the screen presence, or even the looks to be a top-level draw, and he's too old to grow into the role now. 50 is normally the point where most actors' careers start to decline as middle age kicks in, and the next generation of talent moves up to replace them. I don't really know why people expect his career to do the opposite, but somehow they do. Also, the meme of him being in fucking everything feels like it's evolved from a bit of niche good-natured ribbon on social media to actual widespread irritation now, proving the point that familiarity really does breed contempt. Myth number 3 is that superhero fatigue isn't a thing. Bad movie fatigue is.
Really?
Nope, superhero fatigue is absolutely a thing, and it's about time people accepted that. Movie genres rise and fall like the sun. Nothing stays popular and relevant forever, and after a quarter of a century of domination, the sun is well and truly setting on superheroes now. And by that, I don't mean they're ever going to die out and disappear completely. Just like the comics that inspired them, there's always going to be a core audience wanting more. What I mean is that general audiences, the people who bring in the bulk of the box office revenue, have lost interest and moved on to other things now. Superheroes aren't cool or compelling anymore. Yeah, the decline in quality and the saturation of the market definitely speeded the process up, but the truth is, it was gonna happen eventually no matter what. Even James Gunn's Superman by James Gunn, the biggest and most iconic superhero of them all, is struggling to make much headway at the box office. The tentpole movie designed to kick off a whole new cinematic universe, arguably a day late and $1 short, is currently sitting at $550 million a month after release. At this rate, it's going to struggle to even hit $600 million. That's not just a disappointment, that's a fucking disaster. DC wheeled out the biggest gun in their arsenal for this one. See what I did there? And it barely made a dent. I mean, what kind of numbers do you think Supergirl or Clayface or Swamp Thing are gonna do if even fucking Superman can't draw big crowds? The harsh reality is that the cultural zeitgeist has shifted now, the audience has matured and changed, and they've left superheroes behind. All those outlandish outfits and crazy powers that were so cool and revolutionary 10 years ago seem kind of lame and dated now. A cultural holdover from a previous generation, lingering beyond its time, struggling for relevance in a world that's moved on without it. So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for superhero flicks? Well, like I said earlier, there is still a way for superhero movies to carry on and turn a profit for the studios, but it has to be based on the understanding that the market is smaller and tougher now. If 500 million is the best you can hope for at the box office, then you need to start slashing your budgets big time. 100 million is where most superhero movies want to be sitting now, which means leaner and meaner productions, cutting down on expensive VFX and big name actors, and focusing more on quality writing. It really comes down to a choice between managed decline or complete implosion. It all sounds pretty obvious, because it is, but sometimes things that seem obvious to normal people like us seem to sail right over the heads of Hollywood executives. I don't know if they can or will change, but one thing's for sure, superhero movies as we've known them for the past 20 years are over. Whether this means the start of a new era or a complete collapse of the whole genre, only time will tell. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, I hope y'all heard it. Do not forget to go give Critical Drinker a follow. But either way, hope you like what he had to say. You're insightful on it. I listen because I need to pay attention to stuff like that. I like Marvel. I've enjoyed their movies, but they did go down the rabbit hole. Girl bosses for a long time, and that wasn't made me cringe seeing in my movie theater seat watching, and I just you kind of go through it. I'm dumb, and you know that stuff, but still, if you like what you saw, don't forget to like it, comment down below, share, and subscribe. But I'll leave you with this number right here. I'll be an awesome night. And the rest of your day goes really well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.